This is Mask from A Mask Truth TV. Today is January 29th, 2019. And today we're going to go into some Bible verses about flat earth. Now, what does the Bible say about flat earth? Let's see. Now, Chronicles 16:30. Tremble before him, all the earth. The world is firmly established. It cannot be moved. Now, if it's saying that it can't be moved, it must be pretty impossible to be hurling around the sun thousands of miles an hour, and the sun's going through the middle of the galaxy at thousands and thousands of miles an hour. It doesn't make sense, especially if it says it cannot be moved. Now we'll go into Samuel chapter 2 verse 8. He raises the poor from the dust and lifts the needy from the ash heap. He seats them with princes and has them inherit the throne of honor. For the foundation of the earth are the Lord's. On them he has set the world. Now, if you know anything about houses, and if you set a house on a foundation, it pretty much can't be moved. You're going to need a hurricane or a tornado or some type of catastrophic event to take it off of its foundation. So if the world is sitting on foundations, it must mean it's set in one place. Now we're going to Isaiah. He will raise a banner for the nations and gather for the exiles of Israel. He will assemble the scattered people of Judah from our four quarters of the earth. Now, if there's 4 quarters of the earth, it must be able to be split. Now, you cut a pizza, if you got a flat earth module, and you circle, and you cut it like a pizza, but just in 4 slices, you can have 4 corners of the earth. On a globe, it doesn't really work the same. It really wouldn't even make sense for them to even say it in that type of context. So, that really wouldn't make too much sense. Let's move on to Isaiah chapter 40, verse 22. He sits enthroned above the circle of earth, and his people are like grasshoppers. He stretches out the heavens like a canopy, and spreads them out like a tent to live in. Now, if he stretches out the heavens like a canopy, the canopy is basically like a roof. And in other verses of the Bible, it talks about a firmament. A firmament is like a ceiling. It's a vaulted dome. It's something that you cannot get out of. So a canopy would mean that we're enclosed underneath of the heavens. And he spread them over the earth. Now we go into Job chapter 27 verse 7. He spreads out the northern skies over empty space. He suspends the earth over nothing. Now, if the earth is suspended over nothing, and he spread out the northern skies over empty space, that means pretty much everything around us is nothing. Which outer space, as they claim, is a bunch of stars, planets, and galaxies. So if he says that there's nothing, then there's nothing. And I'm going to go into another verse from Job, chapter 26, verse 10. He marks out the horizon, which horizon means horizontal, which horizontal is a flat line going straight across. He marks out the horizon on the face of the waters for a boundary between light and darkness. So the horizon is the boundary between light and darkness. Got more from Job, chapter 28, verse 24. For he views the ends of the earth and sees everything under the heavens. Now, the ends of the earth, speaking of the ice wall or the outer perimeter of the earth, if you're on a globe spherical earth, there is no end. There's no end to an infinite earth. So there has to be some type of ending to the earth for there to be boundaries. And he sees everything under the heavens. Now, to see everything from a view up above on a globe, that's kind of hard to do. But if you're looking down at a flat surface, it's a lot easier to see everything. So it would make a lot more sense. More from Job, chapter 37, verse 3. He unleashes his lightning beneath the whole heaven and sends it to the ends of the earth. So if he's sending down lightning, I mean, lightning can curve somewhat, but you would think a direct shot of lightning would go directly down. So he would have to be right above us. Chapter 37, verse 18. Can you join him spreading out the skies, hard as a mirror cast of bronze? So he says the skies are as hard as a mirror cast of bronze. So if the skies are hard, how would it be possible for an astronaut to get through that? Or any type of rocket or unmanned, drone, anything of the sort. It just doesn't work. I don't know any rocket that can just fly through a bronze casted, hard sky. It would probably explode on impact. We'll go into Matthew chapter 4, verse 8. Again, the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their splendor. So if you're able to go to a mountain on top of a globe, you wouldn't be able to see everything. But if you're on a mountain on top of flat earth, you can see everything as far as God will allow you to see, because it's all a direct line of sight. We'll go into Proverbs chapter 8, verse 27. I was there when he sat in the heavens. I was there when he set the heavens in place, when he marked out the horizon on the face of the deep. Now they're talking about the horizon on the water again, which means, as y'all know, if you're a flat earther, you would know that water is flat. Water doesn't curve. There is no type of lumps in water. You have waves, but that's about all you're going to get. And he marked out the horizon, so he made it that everywhere had this, it seems like the same horizon. Everywhere is flat, and he set the heavens in place over top of that. We'll go into Psalms. When the earth and all its people quake, it is I who hold its pillars firm. Then again, he goes with the pillars. If you set something on pillars, it's pretty much like a house. It's set in its foundation. It's firm. And that could explain, a lot of stuff with the pillars, man. It gets deep. Now we'll go into another verse from Psalms chapter 93, verse 1. The Lord reigns. He is robed in majesty. The Lord is robed in majesty and armed with strength. Indeed, the world is established, firm and secure. When something is firm, it's pretty much gonna be there. It's not going anywhere. It's secured in place. It's held down in a way that it's not going to move. Now we'll go into Psalms 104, verse 5. He set the earth on its foundations. It can never be moved. It can never be moved. He's telling you right here that it's impossible for us to be in motion because it cannot be moved. And as you cannot feel any type of motion that they say On the top of the world, you would be moving a lot slower if you lived on the northern hemisphere, or than if you lived at the equator. You'd be moving a lot faster. There's no difference from wherever anybody lives on Earth. There is no motion. It cannot be detected whatsoever. Now we're going to go into Revelations chapter 7 verse 1. After this I saw 4 angels standing at the 4 corners of the earth, holding back the 4 winds of the earth to prevent any wind from blowing on the land or on the sea or on any tree. Now, I don't know much about what he means by the 4 winds of the earth. Maybe there's places in the firmament where wind comes through, or where it is generated or created, or I really don't know, but they made it to where they prevent it blowing on the land or sea or any tree. So there had to be some way for them to block the winds. Now, could that be the firmament? Who knows? Now, I want to get into a couple verses from the book of Enoch, which is a very powerful book of the Bible, which has been withheld from us because they didn't want us to know some of the information in there. We'll go from Enoch chapter 18 verses 1 through 5. And I saw the storehouses of all the winds, and I saw how he has adorned them with all creation. And I saw the foundations of earth. We'll go with the foundation. And I saw the cornerstone of earth, and I saw the 4 winds which support the earth in the sky. And I saw how the winds stretch out the height of heaven, and how they position themselves between heaven and earth. They are the pillars of heaven. And I saw the winds which turn the sky and cause the disk of the suns and the stars to set. So maybe these winds that he's talking about are what caused the sun and the moon and the stars to have their rotation. And I saw the winds on earth which support the clouds, and I saw the paths of angels. I saw at the end of the earth the firmament of heaven above. So at the ends of the earth, it says you can see the firmament of heaven above. So I guess when you get closer to the ends of the earth, you can actually see the firmament. It's pretty crazy. Here goes something from Job 26:11. The pillars of heaven tremble, and they are astounded at his rebuke. So maybe the pillars are some way of making earthquakes, or some type of, when he said the earth shakes. It's pretty interesting. Now we're going to go into Enoch chapter 18 verses 6 through 12. And as I went towards the south, and it was burning day and night, where there were 7 mountains of precious stones, 3 towards the east and 3 towards the south. And those towards the east were colored stones. One of them was pearl, and one is a healing stone, and those of the south of red stone. And the middle one reached to heaven like a throne of the Lord of Stibum, and the top of the throne was sapphire. And I saw burning fire, and what was in all the mountains. And I saw a place there, beyond the great earth. There the waters gathered together. And I saw a deep chasm of the earth, with pillars of heavenly fire. And I saw them among fiery pillars of heaven, which were falling, as regards both height and depth. They were immeasurable. Beyond this chasm I saw a place, and neither had the sky. It had neither the sky above it nor the foundation below it. There was no water on it, no bird, but it was a desert place. And here's another verse. And I went round to a place where nothing was made, and I saw a terrible thing, neither the high heaven nor the firm ground, but a desert place, prepared and terrible. Now I'm guessing they're talking about that's where hell would be at. That's what it seemed like to me out of that verse. Enoch chapter 33 verses 1 through 2. And from there I went to the ends of the earth, and I saw there large animals, each different from the other, and also birds, which different in form, beauty, and call, each different from the other. And to the east of these animals I saw the ends of the earth, on which heaven rests, and opens up the gates of heaven. So it seems like on the ends of the earth is where you can see the firmament in heaven and the gates of heaven. Enoch chapter 72 verses 1 through 4. The book of revolutions of the light in heaven, each as it is, according to their classes, according to their period, rule, and time, according to the names, places, or origins, and their months. Uriel, the holy angel who was with me, and their leader showed me, and he showed me all their regulations, exactly as they are, for each year of the world, and forever, until new creation shall be made, which will last forever. And this is for the first law of the lights. The light is called the sun. It's rising in the gates of the heaven towards the east, and it's setting towards the western gates of heaven. And I saw 6 gates from which the sun rises, and 6 gates from which the sun sets. And the moon also rises and sets in those gates. And the leaders of the stars together with those whom they have led, there are 6 in the east and 6 in the west, all exactly in place, one next to each other. And there are many windows to the south and the north of those gates. So there's windows and there are gates. And the first there rises the greater light named the sun, and its disk like of the heaven. The whole of it is full of fire, in which it gives warmth. We're going to get into one more verse, and I'm going to go into the beginning of Genesis, kind of overview that before I close up. In them he has set a tent for the sun, which comes out like a bridegroom leaving his chamber, and like a strong man runs his course with joy. Its rising is from the ends of the heavens, and its circuit the end of them, and there nothing is hidden from its heat. So we'll pull up something from Genesis. Now I'm just going to read from the beginning, and we're going to go up to the part where it tells us everything that we basically needed to know. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. God saw that the light was good, and he separated the light from darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. And God said, "Let there be a vault between the waters to separate the water from the water." So he said, let there be a vault to separate the waters from the water. So then God made the vault and separated the water under the vault from the water above it. And it was so. God called the vault the sky, and there was evening, and there was morning, the second day. Now, if you know anything about a vault, it either keeps people in or it keeps people out. So if he created a vault to separate the waters from the waters, and he placed the land and the sea and everything within that vault, that means that we are inside of a vault. We are inside of a dome firmament, which we cannot get out of. We were not designed to get out of here until we die, until we go to heaven or we go to hell. And that's the main thing I really want to, stress to you guys, that we can't leave here. No matter what NASA tries to tell you, or these scientists with the Big Bang Theory that try to rule out God, it's all a lie. And the longer that you fight to try to believe what liars are telling you, the longer you're going to be in the dark. This is Mass from the Mass Truth. I'm signing out.